Alright, so it's very cold out here. I wanted to do a video on how to use the grid. The downloads I'm going to include contain the grids for all the root rectangles and the 1.5, and I'll show you how I use them and see if you can get any use out of them too. But you can see this is the grid, and it's printed on transparency paper. You can't really see it. Let me try and focus on this thing. But yeah, you can see the grid on there, and I've got every single one of them in here. Also have a the gauge finder where you line it up to the subject and try and find out what diagonal it's using. So like this one. This is the screen I'm filming is probably a root 3, and it looks like it's corner to corner right there. But anyway, so you'll take the grid. Hi. You'll take the grid. You're gonna put some double-sided sticky tape right on the bottom there. Tape it to your LCD. I use this carry speed view finder just to block the glare and things like that, but I don't know if you can see through there. Anyway, so I'm just waiting for the sun to come back out. This is a very cold day. I wish I was in Hawaii still, but it's one of the last days the sun's gonna come out before it snows. I've got my subject here, this little mud puddle. That's what I want to capture, but let's see if I can do it in camera and show you guys how to line it up. And you guys got to remember, when you're using the grid, it's not like the rule of thirds where there's a specific point where you have to put your subject. You have to think of the whole. So you got to think of the background and the foreground and how your subject fits within that environment, and not just think of specific points. Okay, so definitely want to consider the diagonals and the reciprocals. You don't want to get hung up on the horizontals and the verticals, trying to line up your horizon on the top horizon or the bottom. You know, you got to get out of that mind frame and just start thinking of things as a whole instead of a little point that's going to be magical and give you a great composition, because it doesn't work that way. So let me switch to the other camera and see if I can get this done for you, because I don't know if the sun's going to come back out. Alright, so here's our subject. Okay, so how do you line up your shot to the grid? That's the question. Rule of thirds, maybe you'd line it up right here without consideration of this little area right here next to the edge. Okay. Again, rule of thirds would probably say, oh, line up this tree to the vertical, and we're going to capture a little bit of the sky. Okay, but heck, we got this path on the third, we've got the tree on the left on the third. We're good to go. But this subject right here, that's the best part of the whole image, so why would we cut that out? Okay, so we gotta consider the whole, and that's our subject, the reflection. So I'm gonna take these tire tracks, I'm gonna try and line these up with the diagonal. That's the Baroque diagonal. And you can see on the right, I've got this lining up with the grid. Okay, also gotta keep in mind all these trees are creating repetition. Okay, it would be better if the trees are more at an angle like this, like that one, okay, to echo this diagonal, but we're not that lucky. Anyway, so the final shot, I would say probably get back here, line that up. Gonna get this right there. Now I would say that's the shot right there. Okay, why would I say that? Because we've got the diagonal, we've got the reciprocal lining up. This isn't too far right. It's kind of balanced out, maybe right about here. Okay, we've got this corner up here. I don't want that bright area, so I'm bringing it down a bit. And where this reciprocal drops, we've got the tree lining up. So everything's kind of lining up, and I don't have a messy edge, and my subject's almost in the middle, but the composition is balanced. Okay, so it'd be better if the sun was out, but if it comes back out, I'll switch back over and we'll see what it looks like. Alright, but for now, this is the final shot right here. Okay, and you can see I didn't go off a specific point. I was thinking about composition, lining this up. Got this coming up here. I'm thinking about edge flicker. I'm thinking about this dropping where the tree is. Okay, and I'm making sure the reflection in there is focused. And I'm also considering gamut with the repetition and the law of symmetry. We've got the reflection here and the trees up here. Okay, and also we have this is the figure ground relationship. It's a reversal, so the reflection is actually the subject and everything in the foreground is the background. If I was using a lower aperture, this would all be a little bit blurrier, but since I needed my wide angle, I couldn't do that. But that should give you an idea of where I'm going with this grid, how you can use it, and just to look at the whole instead of a point. Okay, not just one point is going to give you a good image. You got to think about everything. All right, so yeah, this is the figure ground right here, and the lightest light up against the darkest dark. Okay, that's where the eye is going to go. I'm controlling the EF because I'm bringing it down here. We've got the law of symmetry, and we're working with diagonals. All right, so you can use this in your video, you can use it in your photos, your art, everything. Okay, say this is video, you can have someone walking across here on the path, or you can have them walking around creating the ellipse. All these things to consider. Alright, so that was me working with the grid, and I hope you guys find it useful. Just download it, take it to your whatever FedEx office or Office Max or Office Depot, print it at home. Just do it on transparency, then cut it out. If you find the grids that I give you a little bit too big or too small, just measure your LCD and then design it in Photoshop to that specific size. That's all you got to do. And I will include links to the actual grids themselves, that way you can drop it into the 2.5-inch LCD or the 3-inch LCD square that you have available. Alright guys, I also want to mention that when you are approaching a scene looking for the hidden geometry and arabesques and patterns and design elements, with the arabesque it's easier if you just keep your eyes open but you blur your vision a bit like this, okay? And you'll start to see the patterns. I don't see any right here. Okay, so we'll just keep looking. There's one. Okay, right here I'll just blur. I'm gonna start to see these patterns right here. Got this arabesque going in here. Okay, so that's how you find the arabesque. You just keep your eyes open, but maybe close one eye and blur your vision, and you'll start to see these patterns. Alright. Okay, another one is the finding the GAC in say nature. You don't have Photoshop to help you out. So we're looking at this scene. This is gonna be an easy one, but we know the sky is really bright. What else is popping out? That puddle is, right? Let's say we couldn't find it with our own eyes and it's brighter, more sun. All we gotta do is close down our aperture and it's gonna pop out the brightest parts for us. Alright? So we're gonna see things that are gonna be distracting, like this little thing. What is that? It's a stump. Okay, it's got that bright moss on it, creating distractions. So if that's in our image, it's gonna cause distractions. God, it's cold out. But yeah, so if you want to find your GAC, just stop down your aperture, and it's gonna show you what the brightest parts are. All right. So that's two different ways. It's just like squinting. Say you're a painter and you're squinting to find the areas of great contrast. It's gonna be just the same effect, but we have our cameras to help us with that. Anyway, hope that helps. Alright, bye.